All right, we're live. I got this cold. My grandchildren gave it to me.
Christian, I've got a quick question for you. Or not Christian, Stephen. The professor, Frisch, or Fraze, or Freeze, or whatever. Anyway, he just sent me a message and I asked him if he wanted to join. Do you want to just send him the Google Hangout link? So remember he said he would like us to ask him at least, and if he can, he'll join us.
Wait.
Sorry, I just came in now. I have no clue what's going on.
I'll take care of it. I'm going to invite our professor.
Okay.
He just sent me an email about something else. So if he's available, at least we can say we tried, right?
Is it recording now or?
Yeah,
yes,
well, it's live.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure.
If you look, at least on my phone, it says live in the upper left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got it.
Should I redo my thing, or do you think it's
fine?
You're fine, Christian.
Okay.
Unless you, I think it would be great for you to redo it, but
yeah,
I completely
we missed it.
So
oh yeah, I'm sure you did.
I have. He hasn't said anything.
Well, we'll just continue on, and if he replies, then we'll go from there. That's all we can really do.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might want to just choose.
Has everyone gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yes.
All right. So then it's on to the next part, which is what is the role of gratitude in organizations, and how have you seen examples of it increase your effectiveness? And I have one if somebody else has one to start.
Who's starting?
I can go ahead and start if you guys want.
Yeah, go for it.
So currently I work at Target, and they are very geared towards their employees' happiness. And they show their gratitude by randomly we have a Starbucks in our Target. So randomly they'll be like, all right, you guys are doing great today. Go get yourself a free Starbucks. Or there's grilled cheese in the break room for whoever wants it. So they show their gratitude by, giving us stuff, or here's a free lunch, don't worry about lunch today. We got you. Thank you for what you do. And personally, for me, that helps a lot, because I'll always take free food because, a college student and trying to raise a family at the same time, times are tough sometimes. And I went from Walmart, where they maybe did one thing a year for their employees, and that was it, to Target, where they've done 5 or 6 things in the month and a half that I've worked there. And that has helped me enjoy my workplace more, and makes me want to work better, because I know they are appreciative of what I do.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. I had a place that I used to work with before. They would do like monthly employee recognitions, do birthday celebrations for employees that had their birthdays, and we actually had an employee committee that would meet from different from departments to be able to keep the culture of Hawaii in the service, because it was a hotel industry, a hotel that I worked at a resort, and the employees felt like they're a part of this organization. Yeah, the hotel. So their service was a lot more deepened. Yeah, giving it to the guests. The guests enjoyed, coming back. We had a lot of return guests. That's what the hotel was meant to have. But yeah, that was part of it. And in the reading, it did say that the employees become more productive. They're willing to work, and there's a relationship that you build between the worker and supervisor. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I'll go next. I've worked for both companies, both kinds of companies where gratitude was a big, I guess like you, Stephen, I've worked corporate America forever, and now I'm working at Home Depot.
Nice. I like that place. Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that they don't pay their employees very well, but the employee satisfaction level is through the roof. People have been there for 15, 20, 30 years. It's incredible. The benefits that they have really entice people to stay. So their turnover is relatively low in most departments, not all. Cashier high turnover, but I've been thinking about that comparatively. You know, when I go to work every day making my minimum wage, I get treated like, Becky's here, woohoo, it's so great. And when I was making substantially more, I didn't get any of that. But I always felt the responsibility as a manager to gift that to my employees, even though I wasn't receiving it from my superiors. And I have seen how gratitude has completely changed. Like I had one employee at one of my jobs, and he was underutilized and I guess mostly just underutilized. And everyone kind of looked at him as kind of the dumb kid. He was my mail clerk. And he came to me one day and said, hey, is there any way I could use one of the extra rooms to do some homework? I'm going to find out he was going to school at night to get his IT degree. And so I secured a room for him, made sure he could do his homework, and just started investigating who he was and if he was happy and where he was wanting to eventually wind up in his career. And so then I partnered with the IT director and said, hey, my employee is getting his degree. Is there any sort of an internship or can he work on projects for you? And I just started building him up on little things and giving him big projects that I would sit down with him and I'd say, okay, I really need this big project done. It's going to take a few weeks. Are you willing? And do you have time? He's like, yeah. And so I would sit down with him and I would train him for like 15 minutes and I would give him all the details and say, go. He's like, no, you're going to help me, right? And I said, no, you're smart enough. You have a gift that you just haven't utilized yet. And if you have any questions, come and see me. And it was all about building him up and letting him know that he had the qualities, the skills, the talents to really do whatever he wanted. He just needed somebody to believe in him. And it started trickling. So all the other departments started seeing my mail clerk as somebody who was highly valuable and started, wanting his services and helping. And then the IT director ended up hiring him to be an intern in her department. Now he's graduated, he works in that department, he's thrilled. And, of course, I had to hire another mail clerk, which is much easier than hiring somebody in the IT department. And he already had an in, and he was just happy. So it was just neat to see how a little bit of gratitude on one end was infiltrated the entire company, where people would kind of talk trash about him. Oh, he's so dumb and he's so this. I'm like, no, he really isn't. He's just not in his niche. His niche is somewhere else, and he's developing his skills. And it was neat to see the whole company just start to kind of adopt that attitude. So I think when we show gratitude, it spreads to other places as opposed to me saying, yeah, he's kind of a, whatever. He's not real smart, or he's, but I didn't. So I think as management, and since that's what we're all getting degrees in management, the little bit of praise that we can give goes, it exponentially affects the company in positive ways only.
Yeah. And I think for you too, you actually saw his good qualities and, utilized it, helped him to make him feel like he was like part of the company and he grew with it. That's awesome.
He's still there. And I'm not.
Yeah. Probably always thinks of you.
He's a good guy.
What that reminds me of is last week's case of growing your stars, not buying your stars. That's what I was thinking of the whole time.
Enough.
She was helping grow that star for the company.
Yeah, that's a good. Cool.
Yeah, I've seen I've seen gratitude be huge with that. I think with my past employers, the ones that I still am in contact with, and the ones that I still felt like I was able to grow and contribute to the company, those were the ones that expressed that gratitude, and it helped build our relationship. And the other ones, I don't really have that relationship with them, and it's unfortunate. And my wife, even right now, she has a new boss, and she was really close with her old boss, and her old boss would always, she was tough on her, but she would also always make sure to say thanks, and always like would give gifts or like share her gratitude towards things. And her new boss now says like, well, your thank you is your paycheck kind of thing, and he's kind of old school, and it totally has changed the morale in the company to where she doesn't even want to work there anymore. And just the simplest things as far as saying thank you and expressing gratitude goes so far, and you don't always think about that, but it is huge just for someone to hear that.
Yeah, agreed.
I totally agree. Are there any other examples people would like to share?
I would, but I don't have any experience with gratitude in the workplace. So yeah, I
It's
don't.
all good, man.
I'd
Hopefully
imagine
you'll
it'd
get
be
some
nice,
soon.
but yeah, I don't have anything to share.
Well, one thing I would like to say to that made me think about it is like, on Sundays, when I'm teaching, I notice that when somebody participates and I thank them for their participation and their insight, they're willing to continue to contribute. So I've seen that part of gratitude. Acknowledging their thoughts and you know thanking them for contributing.
Right, because it helps them feel safe to
Right.
contribute more, which is a good thing. But they need
Right.
that, they need that thank you first to know that
Yeah.
they're safe to share their ideas. That's a good.
Right. Right. Right.
Alrighty. So are we ready to move on to the next topic?
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Alrighty. So the next thing is, what are barriers to expressing gratitude, and how are they overcome?
I think not expressing gratitude is kind of a sign of pride, if you think about it. And I think that expressing gratitude goes with that. It's kind of a sign of humility. And you think about with just expressing gratitude to God, you're showing that humility and like that you can't do it on your own. You're grateful for His blessings. And it's the same thing with other people. And when people don't want to express that, I think it's kind of either like a power trip kind of situation where they don't want to relinquish any power because they want to hold something over your head. And by expressing gratitude, it makes you vulnerable. If you think about it, like as a boss, you become vulnerable because you're showing, hey, I need you as an employee. And some people don't like that. And so I think that it really does take humility to express that gratitude, especially in the workplace.
Just like your wife's boss, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it could also be like some people feel privileged, like you owe it to them, so they don't feel like you need to. They don't feel like they need to feel gratitude for anything, because they just feel like these things are expected. I think that's a really big reason why people aren't grateful for things, because they just feel like it's something that they should already happen. So.
And Christian, that's also
Comes
what
with
we
it.
talk about in the last article we had. The
I think
barriers
so.
to being grateful. That's the very first one. Is having a passive victim attitude coupled with a sense of entitlement. Basically meaning if you believe you're entitled to most things, then you will be thankful for very little. And I think having teenagers, I've kind of witnessed that too, where everybody has an iPod or an iPhone, so they need to have an iPhone. Everyone has a new car, so they need to have a new car. And the fact is, like what, 5% of the population of the world actually has an iPhone and a car. And most people that live on the planet live have dirt floors and have cardboard roofs and get their water from a stream or somewhere close by, right? So we really do live in a state of luxury, and we forget to be grateful for the fact that I can go hop in my car and it will run and I will drive as long as I need to. Anyway, we do it plenty.
Take it for granted. That's good.
Alrighty. So, is there anything else people have noticed that are barriers for gratitude?
Feeling sorry for ourselves.
You're good.
Self-pity. Okay.
I think,
Yeah.
it's like, well, look at me. I had such a bad life. I had so many hard things happen, and all you can are the hard things and not the good things.
Yeah. I just had that this week from somebody sent me a text like that. It was like, oh, pity me, and I'm doing all of this and I'm doing all of that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how do I react to this?
The opposite of entitlement. They're expecting gratitude. They expect you to give it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't reply. I'm still trying to figure out what to do.
I think that may be your best option.
I think so too. I'm like, silence is golden. I have nothing nice to say. I better just not.
Silence is golden and duct tape is silver.
I love that one. That's a good one.
What was that? Say it again.
Silence is golden and duct tape is silver.
Oh man.
Oh, that's great.
That's good.
Good.
That is a good one.
I like it. Nice job. Nice job.
Alrighty, so
the third one that they said about it's a lack of self-reflection is also a barrier to being grateful, and I think that's really common. In reading the 7 Habits book, that's one thing that I have 2 jobs. I work at a gym too, and she saw me reading it one day, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I did that like 20 years ago. Didn't change me a bit." And after she left, I'm like, I'm not sure I would be bragging about that. The whole book is about self-reflection, stopping and taking internal inventory and what can I do better, and how can I view the world and the relationships that I have in a different way that makes it more meaningful and synergistic. And so I thought that barrier was really true. If we don't stop and take a look at ourselves honestly and take a look at the world in a loving way, we're not going to see all the beauties that are around us.
Yeah.
alrighty, so let's go ahead and move on to the next section, which we're going to be talking about the articles. And let's start off with, let's each take our own turn and say our favorite part of one of the articles. And I can go ahead and go first with that. So for me, my favorite part of all the articles was from Thomas S. Monson, when he talks about how he would go visit the widows. And there's one widow that he went to go visit late at night at midnight. And she was in a nursing home. And she told her nurse is to wake me up when he gets here because I know he's coming tonight. And for me, that shows so much gratitude towards him because she knows that she can rely on him. And she's so grateful for whatever he does that she's willing to give up her sleep just to spend a little time with him when he comes off and drops off, whether it's a chicken or a little money to help him out, just all the great things he did for those widows.
Yeah, I like that talk too. That's one of my favorites. I remember when it came out, actually, or when he gave it. But I liked how he talks about like the attitude of gratitude, and that really, when I initially heard the talk, it really kind of changed the way I prayed and changed the way I looked on that. But there's a couple things that I highlighted with what he says. He says, We can lift ourselves and others as well when we refuse to remain in the realm of negative thought and cultivate within our hearts an attitude of gratitude. If ingratitude be numbered among the serious sins, then gratitude takes its place among the noblest of virtues. So I thought that was really cool because it's really easy to be negative, and how he talks about how ingratitude is the opposite of that. And since not giving thanks to God or to others is such a bad thing, having gratitude, like he says, makes it one of the noblest of virtues. And I never thought about it like that before.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's like this. I remember this talk also, and just like you, but I when I heard the talk, I tried to make my prayers more focused on the things that I have been blessed with, and expressing my gratitude and love for my heavenly Father, because I know that that's all comes through Him, that I'm able to do. And the challenges that I'm faced with are nothing when I focus more on the things that I'm grateful for. As I was writing the letters, at first I had to like really think. I thought, okay, wait, no, let's just focus on one thing you're grateful for, my husband. Sorry guys, but I can think of go off on a tangent on that. But it and actually when I started to do that, then I started to realize, oh, that's right, I am really grateful for just these little things that he does in his own certain way. And but 3 weeks ago I decided that we were going to, well, we both decided that every night before we ended our day, we would both say something that we liked about each other, or something that stood out. And I actually found that our, the our relationship grew a lot stronger, and we kind of like the things that would irritate each other, we would irritate each other with, we overlooked those things. So I think, I mean, President Munson and the things that he had shared in his talk, we applied in our lives, and it can help us with our relationships at work, at home, with our children.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not sure which article it was, but it was one of the articles, not the talk by Monson. Right above the section where it talked about Buffett donating to the Gates Foundation, it talks about when gratitude is most impactful. And I thought that section was really interesting because it's just something I had never really thought about before. And I took a picture of it, and I wanted to keep looking at that just because I thought it was kind of an interesting little section from the articles.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That was the work gratitude.
I like how all of them kind of related to each other. So like what Brad said about the story about, I don't know, all you guys talked. Anyway, everything was also talked about in the articles that were written by professors and whatnot. And I just find it really comforting that two principles are across the board, right? So it's not just in church or spiritual matters, but it's also in temporal matters that two principles are applicable. And how much better if we will take that really simple principle of gratitude, that it will pay off dividends in our families, and it pays off dividends in our church relationships and our relationships that are intimate, but it also pays off dividends in our work relationships. Because if we've ever had a manager that's like just once or twice says, "Oh, I so appreciate you. You did a great job. Thanks for taking care of that," and or whatever it is. We love being that person that they could do at home. So anyway, I think how all three of them had similar truths that pertain to the same concept of gratitude and being happier.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, that's all the questions really that it has for the meeting outline. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about, either from the articles or things you would like to do with the feature for gratitude?
So I have a question. I went through what we were supposed to do. Maybe you guys have, I don't know if you thought about this, but we're supposed to write a paper about this gratitude experiment that we're doing. Is it supposed to be outlined and treated like a case study, or is it, I didn't really see any outline of expectations on how this paper is to be done. Do you guys know? Did you read anything on that?
No, that's a good question.
I
I would
didn't.
answer the question.
I didn't even see that there was a paper, to be honest.
Same here. Where do
Yeah,
you
I
see
didn't
the
either.
paper at?
Yeah. So there were two things. The first one was find two people you're grateful for, write a heartfelt note, and then give them a treat with a note in person. That was the first thing. And then the second thing was write your impressions of the process. A, what did it feel like? And what were their feelings and reactions? B, what was the role of gratitude in organizations and examples of increased effectiveness? And C, barriers to expressing gratitude and how to overcome. So there were several things that we were supposed to do. I just didn't know if we had to.
I think it's a summary.
I think so
So
too.
if you look under the assignment, under write-up,
Yep.
there's nothing there for week 7.
Oh, crying out loud.
Oh, that's a good one.
But we
Okay.
have
If you look at it,
we have something.
I'm not
new
seeing
about it.
anything. I see week 3, week 5, week 6.
Yeah, I think it's just a summary.
I think that's just for us to prepare for our meeting.
Oh,
Okay, so because on the bottom of the
that could be
gratitude
right.
activity, it says to post something.
Yeah.
That's for the discussion board.
Hold on.
Okay,
Oh, good. Then maybe
so it's not like the reading discussion that we post to. It's something separate on top of that.
I think there's one about the articles we read, and then there's a reading one. I think we have 2 every week, even though I don't think I've never seen anyone actually posting the reading one.
Well, Becky and I have been.
Oh,
no, because I think we're supposed to, and I'm like, I'm not going to get dinged if we're supposed to. So I just throw something in there.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I hate to say that too, but yeah.
I haven't been doing it just because I keep checking like a Saturday and there's nothing there, so I'm just like I wasn't sure if it was like a bug or what was going on.
It's hard to tell.
I guess it's just my group doesn't post. I guess there must be separate little groups in there. So I better start doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it this week and see what it says about the. Because I wrote these instructions down on Saturday.
With this one, all I'm seeing is there's a self-assessment. So I think we got to answer the question saying, did we do these acts? Did we read the articles kind of thing? And then the reading discussion, I'm pretty sure, is just posting what we did.
Okay. So I guess if we answer these questions on our own, yeah, and then there's nowhere to post it. Is that right?
Well, there is the gratitude activity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we post this to a discussion, but there does look like there's a reading discussion that we need to.
Right, the reading that we got to do.
We have to discuss sharpen the saw. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's the every week.
Yeah.
The next chapter, the last chapter, I think. So that's everything that's what Nellie and I have been doing.
Okay, I had no clue we needed to do that because there's no
no grade.
Whatchamacallit on it, due date.
Well, there's no due date.
I know.
Yeah.
I just noticed it last week.
I think it's got to be done by Saturday or something like that. Or Friday, Saturday.
I might email him because, there's no due date. I don't know if he knows there's no due date.
Well, I'm pulling the grades to see if it's even
He's probably wondering why no one's
all I see is accountability on there, and then it's the case write-ups, the 360, and then the self-assessments is all I'm seeing for grades.
I think it's bugged out. I think it's supposed to, but I don't think the teacher even gets notified because there's no due date, so he wouldn't know it's due. Just like we don't know it's due.
So I'm not sure
probably
what we're supposed to do.
I don't know. Did he not say he was coming in our group?
He did, and I haven't seen him come in. Are you using HOA or Zoom? He's trying to get in right now. Maybe we can just
ask him.
Yeah, all there is the self-assessment for this week that I see in the grades.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to get in. I'm emailing him back and forth.
Oh, did you email him the link?
Yeah, and I've been emailing him for the last half hour.
Oh.
So Stephen, the gratitude activity is the post that we're gonna do right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we already did it.
Okay.
So from what I can tell, all we have to do is the assignment, which is pretty much like the end of the week where we go in and say, yes, we've done this, is what I believe it is.
That's assessment.
The self-assessment.
Yeah.
Assessment.
I think it might ask like a summary of it or something. I don't remember.
I haven't done it yet, so it just says make sure you have read the 3 articles. So
yeah,
there may be some questions on the article.
And then the gratitude activity self-assessment is just an assessment of our meeting.
Well, I think it's also about what you did, right? So you're going to write about who you gave it to, what their responses were.
Okay. All right. So maybe this is where that is instead of like a regular discussion.
That makes sense.
Because it looks like it's a quiz and we're not putting a discussion up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we answered our question.
You guys answered my question. Stephen, do we need to invite Professor Frisch, or I just sent him the link? Is that adequate?
That's normally
you know what? I thought I saw him
on.
joining. Yeah, I thought I saw him joining. But
we have to whitelist or blacklist people, or
no?
What?
This is a public, so I've done nothing different when we've all joined before. So
I'm gonna real quick just respond to him and say we're almost done. So
we pretty much are done. So we've been stalling the last 10 minutes.
I know.
Yeah, we've been stalling for him for a while.
My phone's at 1% too. So
while we're waiting, how do you guys like Monday instead of Thursday?
I think it's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
I like
it. It works with you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Either one works.
It's kind of nice. It was this gratitude one, so we didn't have to read a big old long case for our transition.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, I don't know how it'll be. I don't know how it'll be with the case study. But this was
evaluate next week.
Yeah, on which I'm doing it. Shucks, I didn't do this week too.
I mean, if we don't like it next week, we can always just change it back. So it's not a big deal.
No, it's fine with me. I was just asking everybody how they felt about it.
I think they're gonna like it. I think it's gonna be nice.
It's better. Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
All right, Monday will be.
All right, so Monday same time next week.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right.
Have a good
charge
week,
next
guys.
week.
No, yeah.
I guess we could send them the link to the podcast. I guess you could watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, send them both of them.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Okay, guys, have a good week.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.